You might ask yourself, why is Greg making an old-fashioned at the beginning of this episode? And the answer is because this episode is going to involve some mad science, and for mad science, we have to be mad. Today I woke up with the crazy idea to make a drink for Home Alone. What would that drink be? What does Kevin McAllister eat? Kevin McAllister eats pizza and ice cream. So today I'm gonna make a pizza and an ice cream cocktail on how to drink. So to make our pizza cocktail, McAllister pizza, I don't know, cheese pizza, basically we gotta get pizza flavor into a drink. My first attempt at this was to make a syrup. This is nothing more than basil, thyme, oregano, and sugar and water, 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. I made that. My wife said, Greg, you're gonna have to show people how to make that. I said, they know how to make syrup, it's not that hard. But I will show you how to make it. I'm gonna make it again because I thought maybe I wanna do this as a 1-to-1 syrup unusually. So we'll try it both ways. We'll try the 1-to-1 and we'll try the 2-to-1 and see which one we're gonna use in the cocktail. I should have a drink in my hand more when I do this show at the beginning of it. This is a good idea. Even though I've got a recipe worked out and I've kind of made some notes here and I have been very happy with the results, nothing is ever finished until it's finished. So we may make some deviations and changes from what I wrote down here for the pizza cocktail and for our ice cream cocktail, which actually does not involve ice cream. It's a cocktail built around the idea of tasting like an ice cream sundae, not actually having ice cream in it. We'll get to that in a minute. First things first, let's measure out our ingredients. We're gonna start with 300 grams of sugar. 291 grams of sugar. Fine. Syrups are not rocket surgery. You can just tinker around and screw them. These are our pizza flavors. Basically, thyme, oregano, and basil. Can there be a lot of other stuff in your pizza? Absolutely. Do pizzas also involve cheese usually? Certainly. I have somewhat recently experimented with using cheese in a cocktail. I did an episode not long ago where I workshopped a recipe and made it of a McDouble, trying to make a drink that tastes like a McDouble, and that had cheese in it, and I don't want to do it again. I think it wasn't good, and also I don't think that the cheese is necessary to this tasting like a pizza cocktail at all. I got the thing that I made earlier while I was working on this recipe was so satisfying and so pizza-y that I stopped. I didn't feel like it needed any more work. So the one thing I didn't do before is when I was making this, I didn't really measure these things. I just kind of tossed them in, and I don't think that that's wrong. I will measure them this time for your sake, for the universe's sake, because that's, you should measure things. So let's start with oregano. I am going to use like a bar spoon here, which I think is about a teaspoon. Came out to 1.5 grams of dried oregano for this particular batch. Could you use fresh oregano? Of course you could, but I got up and started working on this recipe, and what I had handy was the dried stuff. So I know this recipe works with the dried stuff. I would actually use that. Your dried ingredients a lot of times have much louder flavors, if less complicated flavors. We don't really necessarily need subtlety or complexity here. We need volume. We need this thing to be loud. So let's get some basil in there, and I think that about equal parts is correct. That's 1 gram. Yeah, that's like 1.5 grams of basil. And then I don't think you want quite that much thyme. I think you want to have like 0.5 gram of thyme. That sounds right. Your main ingredient here is going to be the basil and the oregano, really the oregano. And to that end, once that's in there, like, I think you got it, honestly. Like, if you can make a drink that tastes a bit like oregano, I think you've pretty much got it. 300 grams of water to do a 1-to-1. I was very happy with the 2-to-1, but if I can make this drink a hair less sweet without losing the pizza flavor, I would be happy. I would like to be able to do that. And that's it. Like, at this point, all you have to do is heat that until it goes clear. This is gonna make some noise, sorry. I don't like cooking in here in this setup on the show. It's a pain in my ass, but I'm doing it for you. Your sugar right now is gonna sit on the bottom. I think technically you could just heat right through it and just let it do its thing. I personally like to give it a second, get it a little bit warm, and then give it a quick stir with a whisk. It gets it off the bottom. It helps it move around. If there is any risk of that sugar burning by sitting on the bottom, you mitigate it. I don't know how much of that is a real risk, but whatever. And we're just gonna mix in all these ingredients. And I can tell you, this room smells like basil, oregano, and a little bit of thyme. Loudly. Woo-wee! Powerful odors. So some would say, hey, that's already dissolved. There's a second change that happens when you're making syrups where, hey, the sugar looks like it's in there, but the liquid could still be a little bit cloudy. When you get past that and really boil it, it goes clear. We're starting to get some bubbles. Having a little sippy do. All right, that's good. I'm gonna slide this out of the way. All right, so what I'm gonna do is take a measuring cup, any cup really, anything with a pour spout is fine. I'm gonna do a two-step process here. And if you're smarter than me, be smarter than me, and don't do this until it's kind of cooled off a little bit more than what I'm about to do. I'm gonna pour this into the measuring cup through a tea strainer. That got rid of most of our herbs. We're gonna get rid of a lot more now. Take a little cheesecloth. I'm going to put this into my funnel and pour straight through. All right, there you go. That is syrup version 2. That's the 1-to-1 syrup. It's devoid of particulates, which is great. That's what we wanted. I'm gonna literally pour a little of this in here. It's the 1-to-1. Smells a little bit like weed. You know what? I think that will work. That's pretty pizza-y per bar spoon. Let's try this one. It's a tough call. I think I'm gonna go with the 1-to-1 on this. At this point, we are ready to make this drink. The pizza cocktail is a shaken drink, so you're going to need a shaker. You will also need 4 cherry tomatoes. Slice 4 of these cherry tomatoes in half. There we go. And throw them into a shaker. I want 3/4 of an ounce of my syrup, and I want to stick with that 3/4 of an ounce, right? So we reduced sweetness, which I was a little concerned with when I was working this before the show, by changing the way we made the syrup. This should have the same amount or thereabouts, and by my quick taste test I just did, of pizza-ness as the other syrup. So here we go, 3/4 of an ounce will make the same drink, but less sweet, hopefully. Now I need 2 ounces of vodka. Some people will call this savory, and I think what they mean by savory is it's got classic poultry or Italian spices in it, or herbs in it, and really what that is herbaceous. This is herbal, but it's still pretty sweet. For a thing to be savory, it really has to be not sweet. It's gotta have no sugar in it. I want a pretty sizable pinch of salt. I happen to be using a malt and flake finishing salt here, and I do want a couple of twists of black pepper. So it does share a lot of characteristics with something like a Bloody Mary, but it is nothing like a Bloody Mary, I promise you. We need some ice. We're gonna shake it now. I get comments from time to time, hey Greg, what's that little button you keep pushing? That presses record on the close-up camera that you're looking at. Okay, here we go. We're gonna shake this drink up. And that's that. Should have a light pink color, not like a deep red or anything like that. We're gonna put this on a rock. Get a big cube, put it in there, and we're gonna double strain this to get rid of all of those tomatoey parts that we don't want in our drink. We're gonna garnish it with basil somehow. I haven't figured this out exactly yet. You know what? I like this little sprig of basil right from the bottom of the stalk here. Just put that right into the drink there. And there you have a pizza. I mean, I would call it a cheese pizza. I would, except that there's no cheese in it. I feel bad about that, but you know, trust me, you don't want cheese in this. You don't want cheese in this. That smells like pizza. That tastes like pizza. That tastes like pizza. You would be shocked at how present the tomato flavor is there. It's great. Tomato is a little bit acidic, and so that's actually really balancing this drink quite a bit. You've got oregano and basil and thyme, and oh my God, and the tomato. They really work together so good. That's why pizza works. I'm gonna tell you something. I think I liked it better with the 2-to-1 syrup that I made it earlier. I think that a little bit sweeter is actually not a bad thing on this drink. It's tough to get that balance right, and it's a grass is greener situation. Now that I've had the less sweet version, I think I want the sweeter version. If I was having the sweeter version, I think I'd be wishing maybe that I had tried the less sweet version. But I do think that on the balance, I like the sweeter version just a little bit more. It does taste fresh. It tastes aromatic. Ooh, I love that. There's this sweet basil tomato combination, this note that hits like 3/4 of the way or halfway through its flavor profile. And I really enjoy where it comes from. It is super duper fresh. It's really good. This is like drinking a margarita pizza. I'm thrilled by this. And I like to believe Kevin McAllister, as a grown-up, would appreciate this drink. I think he would. I think that all of us millennials who grew up with the movie will appreciate this drink, even if it's only a novelty, even if you just make it half as a joke. But it's good. It's really good. As far as savory drinks, really herb-forward drinks, they're tough. They are tough to pull off. Cocktails really don't want to be savory. They want to be sweet. They want to be little treats. They want to be tasty little easy and approachable candies, almost, right? They want to be that. When they're elevated, they become really great vehicles to demonstrate and put on a platform or a pedestal the base spirits that are involved in them, right? That's like an elevated version of the drink. And then like the third thing that they could be is this herbal thing, which is weird. It's outside of your general drinking experience, so you may not immediately like grok onto it, so to speak, but it's good. This one's very nicely balanced. All of its components are contributing and present. The tomato, you wouldn't expect that to work as good as it does, just shaking with some tomatoes and straining it out, but it really works well. I think there's a world here in which you could use that technique to make kind of a version of a Bloody Mary. I'm sure somebody already has, but where it's like less gloopy, less thick, less like drinking tomato soup, and a little bit more elevated, because I think you could use that to make like a up cocktail answer to a Bloody Mary. But yeah, this is great. This is the pizza cocktail. Nailed it. It's awesome. Don't skip the salt and the pepper. You need the salt and the pepper for that drink to work. The first time I made it, I was like, something's not right here. Needed the salt. The salt is very important. It's just necessary for those savory flavors to really kind of feel and taste right.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
But Kevin McAllister also loves ice cream sundaes, so now I'm going to make an ice cream sundae cocktail. My first thought here was to just make this an affogato. Take some ice cream, throw some booze on it, and say, there it is, your ice cream sundae cocktail. Then I thought, well, what if I made like a syrup out of booze and I put that onto my ice cream? Then I thought, what if we shook with ice cream? We made something like that. But then I thought, why do any of that? Why not just make a cocktail that has the flavor profile of an ice cream sundae? And this will be the polar opposite of what we just did, which is herbal and kind of sophisticated and a little bit dry and a little bit challenging, but very good and balanced. And we'll make something that's absolutely an ice cream sundae that's super duper easy to drink. This spec I'm about to build this drink to may very well, and I think probably does, hew very closely to some disco cocktail or something that I just don't know. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of cocktails, and I think if I did, it would paralyze me and I wouldn't actually be able to make this show. But anyway, this is my ice cream sundae cocktail. I need a limousine to drive me around New York City while I enjoy these things. That would be great. So it's a shake and drink, and we don't need to make any special ingredients here. This one's pretty simple. So you will be using some spirits that I don't normally use on the show, though. For example, we'll be using some vanilla vodka. This is the Smirnoff vanilla vodka. Something tells me that just about any vanilla vodka will treat you fine here. So I want to start with 1.5 ounces of my vanilla vodka. There we go. 1/2 ounce of Bailey's, another thing I use on the show all the time. Hey man, this is that kind of drink. This is a dessert drink. It's meant to be an alcoholic answer to an ice cream sundae, making me want a room at the plaza with one of those little fridges in it. I workshopped this. It wasn't sweet enough the first time I made it, so it needed 3/4 ounce of simple. And now I need 3 ounces of milk. Putting this kind of into the realm of something like an eggnog. So I guess it is pretty Christmas appropriate. And I am just using whole milk. So now I'm going to shake this with ice. 1 whole, 1 cracked. This drink will froth up like crazy. I'm actually going to let that sit for a second. In my second shaker, I'm going to combine equal parts heavy cream and creme de cacao. So in this case, I'm going to do 1.5 ounces and 1.5 ounces of heavy cream. Didn't have time to put it into a presentation bottle, who cares? And now I'm going to very quickly dry shake that. Some people call this a whisk shake. Just want to combine those. We don't want to, if you shake this for too long, you're going to end up with butter in here. Kevin's a fancy lad, so we're going to put it into a champagne coupe. He is a fancy lad. His parents are filthy rich, unbelievably, disgustingly rich. John Hughes did not like writing about normal people. He did not. All right, so you're gonna strain that into a champagne flute. Now I'm gonna take that whipped shooken heavy cream and chocolate, and we're gonna top the drink with that as much as we can. One thing that I did not expect is that this drink has developed a very intense kind of frothy head. There we go. There's our chocolate sauce, so to speak. And that is my ice cream sundae cocktail. Let's see how this is. This is McAllister approved. It's perfect. It's awesome. You get, hang on, I'm gonna eat my cherry. Okay. One more sip. Shit, that's good. What I like about this is that it's actually not super overpowering. It's not super thick either. This feels like a cocktail in a lot of ways. Like, it's drinkable. It is a liquid. It tastes like an ice cream sundae. The Baileys and the vanilla vodka with the milk really present as like a vanilla ice cream kind of thing, but different because it's frothed and light and cold and drinkable. And it's not like a milkshake either. It'd be easy to make a milkshake. This is nothing like that. When you put the heavy cream and the cacao together and float that on top, that's like your sundae. And it does stay on top, and it does kind of front load the drink with that chocolate flavor, that hot fudge, and it doesn't get down to the bottom of the drink. So you get like a deviation, like a variation, I should say, throughout the cocktail of this transition from like chocolate and vanilla ice cream into chocolate and vanilla ice cream into vanilla ice cream. And I think that's really fun, and it, to me, feels a lot like an actual ice cream sundae. There is an argument that maybe you could put other stuff into this. You could use screwball to kind of simulate peanuts. That's a neat idea I just had. You could have done caramel instead of chocolate, or maybe some version of caramel and chocolate. You gotta be careful because like an ice cream sundae has a lot of everything in it, but it's also really big, and you pick and choose and eat it with a spoon. Here we're taking the essence of an ice cream sundae and turning it into a cocktail, and I think I'm very happy with the way this came out. I wouldn't fuck with it. I think it's perfect. But I also think that if you could put your own twist on it, easy. It's awesome. I love it. I wouldn't use heavy cream on the drink. It would be too thick. I think that just whole milk is as heavy as you want to go. You can have your ice cream sundae and a cheese pizza. What a crazy combination of flavors that is. They are so far apart from each other. That is wild. But with them, you could simulate your very own 90s children's birthday party. Ice cream and pizza. Kids, we're going to have pizza and we're going to have an ice cream cake. Oh man, if you put like crumbles on this, that would have been smart. I don't normally start my day with an idea for an episode and then shoot it by the end of the day, but today it happened. I hope that this was fun for you. It was a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed this whole process. And if you liked it, there's a lot more where that came from. There's 1,000 episodes. If you like it and you really love the show, I've got a Patreon. I hate asking, but if you wanted to support the show, I would be in your debt. You're going to get pins on a quarterly basis that we give out for our fans. They're always new, and they are kind of in jokes about the show. There is behind the scenes footage. There is kind of vlog updates from me from time to time. But the main one is that there's a Discord that everybody is kind of hanging out in. I use it as a sounding board for episodes and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the show, that you'll like, subscribe, and check out the Patreon. It'll be in the link below up here in the corner. I hope you're having a great holiday. I hope that if you try these drinks, you enjoy them. If you do some different things with it, I'd love to hear about it. And I'll see you guys next time on another How to Drink. Good night and good luck. That's crazy good.